This hour is being sponsored by Marion Curry. Thanks, Marion. Marion writes, thanks for the hardest rock and talk show in the business. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Larry in Portland writes, Mike, the Ryan budget is so pathetic on so many fronts. Paul Ryan, the chairman of the House Budget Committee, has released his new budget proposal, and it will destroy the United States. And you know who the targets are. But get this. Larry in Portland writes, remember when the military had to convince the Republicans in Washington that they needed reinforced Humvees in Iraq so the troops wouldn't drive around unprotected and get blown to bits? Yeah, remember that? Larry writes, I'm a veteran myself, and Republicans like Ryan are effing punk blank blanks. I'd love to punch that clown Ryan, the head T blank right in his right-wing mouth, and knock some of his teeth out. Signed, Larry in Portland. This is what he's writing about from Huffington Post. Do Republicans care about keeping our promise to veterans? Looking at the recently released GOP budget written by Representative Paul Ryan, it's hard to see how they do. In fact, looking at the nearly 100-page document, the word veteran doesn't appear once. Not once. Now, let me pause for a second and ask you right-wingers who have served in the military, let me ask you again, why is it you align yourself with Republicans who have no use for you at all? They hate you. You were supposed to go fight their owners' wars and then goddamn die. They'll give you a medal. They'll give it to your widow. They'll give it to your children. But you're not supposed to be back here. There's not supposed to be a word veteran unless it's preceded by the word dead. Don't you get that yet? What do you need? Yeah, I was in the military and I'm a Republican. Why? They hate you. I mean, what do you need? How many times do you have to be smacked in your face by a Republican and told that you're worthless unless you're dead before you wake up? Gosh, I'm screaming again. A 100-page document, the word veteran doesn't appear once, not once, in the Republican budget. Yesterday, 2 days ago, 9th anniversary of the start of the Iraq War. Last night, this is written by John Soltz, who is with Veterans. Is it Veterans for Peace? Is that who Soltz is with? I think Soltz is Veterans for Peace. Last night I spoke with someone who served with me in Iraq during my first tour. And for the first time in almost 9 years, she wanted to talk to me about an incident where she drove through an IED and a soldier was killed. It was a profound moment that shows how war and sacrifice stay with us always. For those of us who served, in many ways, yesterday is today. And today we read that the GOP doesn't even talk about veterans in their budget. But without saying the word veteran, the budget tells us a lot about what they think about veterans. The budget calls for across-the-board spending freezes and cuts. If enacted, the Ryan GOP budget would cut $11 billion from veteran spending, or 13% from what President Obama proposes in his own plan. Are you listening, you right-wingers? Are you listening? It's unconscionable, Soltz goes on, that they do this at a time when so many Iraq veterans have just come home and rely on veterans' care. Over 45,000 U.S. troops were wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan, and more will come who will rely on VA services, on top of veterans of other wars and eras who depend on the VA. But this short-sightedness isn't new. Back in 2005, President Bush underfunded the Department of Veterans Affairs by about $1 billion despite its need. The result? Secretary Jim Nicholson was forced to crawl before Congress and plead with it to pass emergency supplemental spending just so it could keep the doors open. After that debacle, I have to admit, I never thought Republicans would do the same thing again, if for no other reason than it just looks bad politically, leaving aside the horrible effect it would have on veterans in need. Yet here we are, again. A budget from the GOP that shortchanges veterans horribly. And where does that money go? Not to reduce the debt. The debt as a share of GDP would actually increase under the Ryan plan. The money doesn't go towards anything, really, but it does go towards some people, as in a $3 trillion tax giveaway to the richest Americans and corporations, people like Mitt Romney, who already pay a tax rate lower than most of our troops. That's the choice the Ryan plan presents to America. Do we want to fund the wealthiest Americans and corporations or keep our promises to veterans? Ryan and the Republicans say the former. I can't believe that most Americans wouldn't say the latter. Very calm, John. Very well done. Very restrained. The day's going to come. It will, as surely as the sun rises and the sun sets, when people in this country, all kinds of different groups, are going to realize what the Republican Party really is and what conservatives have really metastasized into. And then the people in this country are going to put a stop to the right-wingers. A full stop. And I look forward to that day.